Hello Year 7. Today I'm going to show you how you can use the OETWES structure that we use in class to answer a language analysis question. So the question that you are looking at in this lesson is here. I've written it at the top of my page. How has the writer used language in this blog post to persuade the reader? That's what you've been looking at this lesson. And here is my OETWES structure that we use in English language. And it's the same one that we've been using in class. Just to talk you through this before I start writing, remember at the start of a piece of language analysis, we want to make a strong opening point. So we want to read the question. We want to think about what is the question asking us and what could I say to answer the question. We're then going to give a quote, a piece of evidence. We're going to say what language or structure technique, in this case language, the writer has used. We're going to say why we think the writer has used it. And we're going to say what the effect is. What does it do to the reader? What does it make the reader think or feel or imagine? So I'm going to model for you how I would approach this paragraph. So I'll put this here so you can see. And I'm going to write here how I would start to answer this question. So first things first, I need to make a strong opening point. So I'm going to say, looking at the question's asking me how does the writer persuade the reader? So I need to write a sentence which explains what the writer is actually saying to the reader to persuade them. So what I'm going to say is, the writer has used different techniques to persuade. So I'm using that word from the question. The reader now, that would be an opening point, but it's not very strong at the moment. I need to say, what is the writer persuading the reader? Well, I think the writer is persuading the reader that Innocent is a company which cares about people and the planet. Because that really has been what they've been trying to say to us throughout the whole thing that we've looked at, the whole blog post. They've been trying to tell us that they're a good company, that they care about people, they care about the planet. So that would be a really strong opening point that I could show my understanding of the blog post. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight that now in pink so we can see the difference between each stage of the ETWE. I'm going to use a different colour for each section. Okay, so I have my strong opening point. Now I only need one of those for each answer. I need to do that right at the start. So now I need a piece of evidence. I need a quote from the blog post that shows that. So I'm going to use this quote. I'm going to write for example. And here's my quote. I'm going to use quotation marks. Remember to always use quotation marks. We've always been kind to people. So I've taken a quote straight from the blog post that I've been looking at. I've put it in quotation marks, so I'm showing that it's a quote. And that's all I need for my evidence. So I'm going to highlight this in blue so you can see that's where the evidence is. And let's make a little key here. So I've done evidence in blue and I've done my strong opening point in pink. Okay, so I've shown that I can use a quote Now what I need to do is I need to pick out a persuasive technique that's been used. So I'm going to say the writer has used the persuasive technique emotive language here. So this is my technical term. Remember, in English, we always want to use the technical terms that we use to describe language. So this is my persuasive technique here. You don't have to do this, but I'm just going to underline it to show you that this is the technical term. This is the technique. So just as I have been doing, I'm going to use a different colour here to highlight my technique. So you can see where that section of the paragraph is. And I'm going to make a little key here again. There we go. Okay, now I need to write about why I think the writer has used that technique. So what was the writer trying to do? So I'm going to start by thinking about what word is actually emotive. And I think it's this word here. I think it's the word kind. So I'm going to say, in particular, the word kind and I think the writer's used that, so has been used by the writer to, and I think the writer's used that to persuade people that innocent is a nice company. And they're nice because they care for others. Okay, so let's take another colour. I'm going to pick purple this time. I'm just going to highlight that. So this is my why section. Why has the writer used the technique? It's been used by the writer to persuade people that innocent is a nice company because they care for others. Now, when you're writing your paragraph, you don't need to use these colours. I'm just doing this to show you the different sections. Okay, so this paragraph's nearly done. We just need to do one more thing. We need to look at the effect. So what is the effect on the reader? And I always think to myself, okay, so it's either going to make the reader think something or feel something, or it's going to make the reader imagine something. So I can think about using those words if I'm stuck. So what does it make the reader think, feel, or imagine? I'm going to choose feel. This would make the reader feel that innocent are a good. It's an okay word, good. I'm going to try and actually use a slightly better word, slightly more specific words. They're not just a good company, a good, and they're also trustworthy. Because I think that's really what the writer's trying to get us to feel, is that we can trust innocent. So this would make the reader feel that innocents are a good and trustworthy company because, and always try and explain this, so I'm going to use the word because to help me explain, because they care about people. And they are kind. Okay, that's our first paragraph done. So I'm going to pick a final colour. I'm going to choose green, and I'm just going to highlight this. There we go, the green. So your teacher now is going to ask you to write a paragraph of your own. Now, if you're writing more than one paragraph, I'm just going to show you, you don't need to write another opening point. So remember, when we do OETWES, when we start our answer, we need an opening point. Then, just like we've done, we use a piece of evidence, what technique is in the quote, why is the writer use the technique, and then what's the effect. If we're doing another paragraph, we actually don't need another opening point. We only need one of those. So we can jump straight into evidence. So we can just give another quote that the writer has used. So that's what your teacher is going to ask you to do now. They're going to ask you to write the second paragraph. You will need a piece of evidence, a quote. You will need to say what technique the writer has used. You will need to say why the writer has used the technique. And you'll need to say what the effect of that is, so what it does to the reader. And remember, you can use those words think, feel, or imagine to help you with that. I'm going to give you a sentence starter to help you out. So I would start my second paragraph using a connective. So I would say another, because I've already done one. So I'm going to say another quote is. I'm just going to put ... You can finish that sentence off yourself. So that is your sentence starter. The final thing is, when you've done your paragraph, I would like you to have a go at writing a sum up sentence. So always at the end of a piece of analysis, we write a sentence summing up our thoughts. And I'm going to give you one more sentence starter to help you with that. Your sentence starter is the word overall. So you're thinking about your argument and you're going to sum up what you've said so far. Okay, I hope that's been helpful. Make sure that you upload your work to class charts, please, for your teacher to see when you are done. And very good luck, Year 7. Thank you for watching.